There can be lots of times in a recreational boating industry when a boat needs to make it to a certain location but cannot necessarily do it on its own bottom. The solution for this is boat shipping, but putting your multi-million-dollar yacht on top of a cargo ship can be and is a daunting experience. Let's take a look at why and how I've best learned to prep a boat for shipping so that it does not get unnecessarily damaged or need insane cleanup efforts at the end process.
Sometimes shipping a boat is absolutely necessary, like when crossing an ocean if the boat only has a range of a few hundred miles. Other times, a transit can be done, but the owner and captain need to weigh out the pros and cons between shipping or not. For example, we are sending the boat to Baja California for the fall season, which is nearly a 4,000-mile journey, and there are many pros as to why shipping the vessel is a better option. Putting it on a ship results in less wear on the boat, the crew, and the motors. Crossing the Panama Canal as a recreational private vessel can be extremely logistically challenging. We've done it twice. And when the trip is all said and done, the financial costs are about the same. That being said, exposure to factors such as rust, grease, and soot, in addition to the typical wear from sun, salt, and wind, can create a situation in which it is difficult to restore a boat to its original beauty.
The good news is there are several easy steps you can take to help mitigate potential harm from these factors and make the post-shipping cleanup easy. My process entails removing unnecessary hardware and equipment from the exterior, coating your paint with a proper sealant, and covering your wood, teak, and non-skid as best as possible.
As mentioned previously, boats on a ship are generally exposed to difficult to remove items such as rust, grease, and soot. For this reason, it's super important to make sure that your painted exterior is as protected as possible. Our boat is painted with Awlgrip, a polyurethane top coat that holds a beautiful clear finish as well as easy repairability.
But to keep your Awlgrip painted exterior shiny and protected, you need to keep a layer of Awlcare wax on top of the paint. The more you wax a boat, the easier it is to keep clean and protected, and the longer your paint job will last in the long term. This section of this video is brought to you by Axo Nobel.
There are lots of waxes on the market, but the best wax for your Awlgrip painted vessel is the Awlcare Protective Sealer. Wax needs to be applied to a clean, dry surface. Ideally, the boat is rinsed with clean, purified water and dried quickly to prevent any water spots. We only use soap on the boat when absolutely necessary, which I will cover more on that later. Make sure you have lint-free, non-scratch microfiber rags, one for applying and one for removing. Place a liberal amount of Awlcare on your rag and apply in circles to all smooth painted surfaces. Work in sections, allowing the product to soak into the paint. The thirstier a painted surface is, the quicker the wax will disappear. Ideally, you want the wax to leave a cloudy film over the paint before removing it. That is how you know it is properly sealed. Again, work in small sections. You do not want the excess wax to sit dried on the paint for too long. Ideally, not much longer than it takes for it to dry completely. Remove in the same way it was applied, with a clean microfiber in small circles. Make sure you leave no wax residue behind. There is a lot of prep work associated with getting a boat ready for a ship. And for the sake of proper time management, waxing and sealing the paint can be started days or even a week in advance. For proper maintenance and upkeep, I believe a boat should be waxed every 2 months, more if you're using a hard abrasive water to wash, and less if you have clean water such as that provided by Spot Zero system.
The less exposure your boat has, the better. So I highly recommend storing your enclosure curtains, fighting chair, rocket launcher, and helm chairs inside the boat. For the curtains, we wax with insulator wax and then lay them on the VIP bed inside the boat. These are really fragile products and can scratch easily, so it's super important to keep a sheet or a blanket between them so they're not running against each other and getting abrasion. Disassembling the chairs allows you the opportunity to deep clean and wax them, so I recommend taking advantage of this before storing them inside the boat. As for the aluminum on the exterior of the boat, wax with the same insulator wax you used on the curtains.
Day before or morning of prep consists of protecting the remaining exterior surfaces on board, especially those that will see heavy foot traffic from you and the ship crew in the loading and unloading process. We like to buy rolls of vinyl flooring to cover the teak and walkways with. We also use tarps, but generally these have a harder time staying down due to the lightness of the product. One thing to note is that we learned the hard way to only use quality painter's tape to hold the vinyl down. We will also use the tape to seal chair bases and the cracks to drawers and hatches. It's an easy way to keep dust out. Please be careful when walking around on the vinyl and tarp as it can become very slippery.
Once your boat has arrived in its final port, remove all the protection and wash very well with soap to get all of the grime off. We use All Wash because not only does it not have alkalis, acids, or abrasives, but it is 100% biodegradable. A super important factor when working in and around the ocean. Use a soft mitt on the paint and aluminum and a deck brush on the non-skid and teak. Rinse well and dry. And that's a wrap on how I recommend prepping the exterior of your boat for a ship. Good luck and safe travels.